Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here. Welcome back to another Unsung Gems. Today we are covering the letter M. This is a series, of course, in which I talk about a few games, 5 in this case, which I think deserve a little more love. These are not games that often get brought up in conversation. Doesn't seem like too many people rated them on BGG, and that is one of my metrics, by the way, that I check to see what is underappreciated. So we're going to go over these 5 briefly, ideally, and I'll tell you why I like them. So without further ado, let's jump right in. My first pick for today is a little card game, a little bluffing card game called Mamooze. And it's sort of like that old style, regular deck of cards game in which I have something in my hand, put it on the table, and I say, this is 3 sevens. And you need to then decide, are they lying to me or is that the truth, right? Well, this game does something very similar, except the cards are animals, and there are a few action cards in there. But that's the core of the game. Once you start on something, you will continue pushing that animal. So like 3 saber-toothed tigers. I forget what they are exactly, but here's 3 saber-toothed tigers. And the next person says, here's 2 more. Okay, well, there's only 4 of them, I think. Maybe there's more than that. But the next one, 3 more. And eventually, someone has to go, well, come on now. No, there's no way. Now, interestingly, you don't just, when you call someone out, you do not just reveal all their new cards. You will, in fact, shuffle those cards and pull 1. And the reason that's interesting is because you could get away with it. If some of them are true, you could get away with it. There's also action cards. And if someone pulls one of those, that action card might go off and mess them up. Allow you to get away with it, that sort of thing. So I like this one as a party-style game. Very light, very simple, lots of laughter, but with a little pizzazz on top of it. So Mamooze is a nice one to put in your pocket, take to a gathering with you. Next up, I'm talking about a game called Mare Balticum. And this one, the main thing that's going to jump out at you is the striking look of this game. All the illustrations in this game are photography. And they are photographs of basically putty creations. So the game has a maritime theme, of course. So the cover is water that you can tell is made from clay, a ship, a boat, some little people on that boat, and that is all made from clay. It's really cool looking. I love the look of this game. And then above and beyond that, literally everything else in the game looks like it's made from clay. Because, well, again, it is. It's photography. The board, all the borders between the areas, the tokens that show a little fish, that's a clay fish. It's all made from that silly putty type stuff. The gameplay itself is a pretty simple game. It's a fairly light game, kind of family style game, in which you have a fleet, a flotilla. You're going to be moving your ships around, jumping to different areas. You need to make sure that your entire fleet is connected. So you can jump the back one to the front, but they have to be connected. And then you'll be picking up tokens. You're fishing. You pick up tokens. They will be sold at different places on the board for different values. And you are trying to, of course, get the most points. I like the look of this one a lot. I'll say that is a big part of it. But I enjoy the game too, and it is criminally underrated. I feel like most people haven't even heard about it, never seen it. It's just did not get a lot of traction. But if you want something that is wholly its own, especially from a visual point of view, Mare Balticum is one you want to check out. All right, next up, let's talk about some piratey goodness. This is a game called Martinique, and it is a game for 2 players. It has a set collection vibe to it. It also has a little bit of a deduction feel to it. In this game, you are going to be moving around on a board that has a lot of tokens on it with a picture of a parrot or a cannon or what have you and a number. You're going to be collecting these things. Now you can cash in a set that mirrors a set you placed, that you set up on the side of the table. You can cash in matching tokens for victory points. You can get rid of those. Or you can hang on to those and hopefully keep them till the end of the game and score that way. The other thing you can do, this is like a whole separate way of winning the game where you might not even score, is find buried treasure on the board. You see there's something missing and there's something that's sort of been, put aside, 2 tokens that have been put aside, and you are going to, at the end of the game, take turns placing one of your wooden pawns on that spot where you think that buried treasure is. If you hit at the end of the game, we're done, you win. That's it. If neither player hits, then we will score those things we did throughout the game. And I find that fascinating, a game that has such different ways of scoring. The game is very abstracted. It feels that way. But if you're looking for a tactical two-player game where the pirate theme is there, yes, but it's definitely window dressing, but mechanically is so interesting, this push and pull. How much do I worry about discovering where it is versus where the buried treasure is versus just go, get the points. Make these sets. Forget that. What if your opponent hits it, though? Literally none of that mattered. So I find that kind of just fascinating. Martinique is a good one for two players. I recommend it. So we've talked a lot about bluffing and deduction and that sort of thing. Well, this one is a social deduction game called Mayday, Mayday. This one puts everybody on a plane. Something has gone awry on this plane, and we need to now figure out. I think what it actually is the pilot had a heart attack. Something bad happened, but someone's a traitor on the plane. And we are going to be figuring out loyalties around the table and eventually, at the end of the game, allowing people into the cockpit. The neat thing in this game, the thing that I find particularly distinct from a lot of other social deduction games in which you grab something, look at it, give it back, lie about that, or not lie, whatever, is that you have to tag what you looked at. You need to put a token with your color in front of any card that you looked at. And then you can say whatever you want about that card. But the game has a memory. The game will recall, and so will the players, of course. If you've looked at something, you don't get away with saying, well, no, I don't think I looked at that card. That's not what I was talking about. That is it. Your color is there. Yes, you did. So players then, once you've got two colors there in front of a card and the players are saying contradictory things, one of those two people is a traitor. You now need to figure out who you can trust. And the end is particularly tense because one player goes in the cockpit and then they have to select another player that goes in. If any of the good guys get it wrong even once, game's over. They've lost to the traitors. As far as social deduction games, it's a little procedural. It's a little sort of more staccato, let's say, than The Resistance, for example. But I like this one a lot. I like the way that it's like a slow burn of a social deduction game. Anyway, Mayday, Mayday, excellent, cool theme, its own thing, and I enjoy it a lot. And then for my final pick, we're going with Mission Impractical. This one is a party game. And in it, you are going to reveal many cards. I think it's 4 columns. Each one has 4 cards in it. And then there's also things you are trying to hopefully do, like jump out of a plane, bake a wedding cake, whatever. These are things on the side. You're going to roll a die. You select which thing you are trying to achieve. The player for the round secretly chooses one thing from each column to accomplish this. And it's obviously kooky. It's insane, right? It's sort of like, a pogo stick. I'm going to get the pogo stick and from the first column. And then, I'm going to get the bungee cord from the second column. I'm going to tie that to the plane. I jump. When I land, I'm going to land on the pogo stick. It's some insane story. And they will tell this crazy story. But before they do that, all the other players try their hand at maybe getting in that player's head and telling their own version. And they won't know what got picked. So they'll say, well, I think the way to jump out of the plane is obviously, this thing and then this thing from this column, and then you tie this to that other thing, and the toothpaste, of course, that's going to be important when you finally land. Everybody tells their story, and then you reveal the real one. You laugh, and you give out some points. Points, who cares? This game is about silly, ridiculous stories you make up along the way. Explaining things that are absolutely irreverent. If you're looking for a game that is irreverent, this is actually one of the better ones I've played. It's not the kind of game I even generally like. I think making up silly stories where the game kind of prods you to do it, I think they feel a little forced. But this one manages to give you the best platform from which to jump into that. Mission Impractical is no holds barred ridiculousness. So I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's a good one for party games if you just want to be silly and tell crazy tales. So there you go, everybody. That's it for this one. That is my Unsung Gems for M. Let me know in the comments below, of course, as always, some of your own picks for things that deserve a little more love. Check out the rest of the series going all the way back up to A. And stick around, of course, as we wrap up the alphabet. But that's going to do it. My name is Zee Garcia, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.